The crowd screamed when the poor street vendor bent down and kissed the unconscious billionaire. People dropped their phones. A woman covered her mouth. A man shouted, "Is she mad?" The billionaire lay still on the hot pavement, his expensive suit dusty, his eyes closed, his chest barely moving. His black car was parked by the roadside, engine still running. Drivers had stopped. Traders had rushed closer. No one knew what to do. And then Amina kissed him. Her lips touched his for only a moment. It was soft. It was gentle. It was not romantic. It was not planned. But it was enough. The billionaire suddenly coughed. His body shook. A deep breath rushed into his lungs like air entering an empty room. His fingers twitched. Then his eyes opened slowly. The crowd went silent. Amina pulled back in shock, her hands shaking. "Oh God," she whispered. The billionaire gasped again, louder this time. He turned his head and vomited a little onto the ground. People shouted with joy and fear at the same time. "He's alive. She saved him. Who is that girl?" But Amina did not hear them. Her heart was beating fast like a drum. She stood frozen, staring at the man she had just kissed, a man she had seen many times on television. A man known across Africa and beyond. Billionaire Ibrahim Danjuma. Sirens sounded in the distance. Someone had called for help. Amina took one step back. If only she knew what that kiss would change. If only she knew it would save his life and destroy the quiet life she once had. And as the ambulance drew closer, Ibrahim Danjuma slowly turned his head and looked straight at her. Their eyes met. And he whispered, "You." That morning had started like every other morning in Makondo City. Amina woke before the sun. She lived in a single room behind a long line of shops near the bus stop. The room was small, with one window and a thin mattress on the floor. When it rained, water leaked through the roof. When it was hot, the heat stayed trapped inside. She washed her face with cold water from a plastic bowl and tied her scarf neatly around her head. Today will be good, she told herself, as she always did. She lost her parents when she was 12. Since then, life had taught her how to stand alone. She never begged. She never stole. She sold roasted corn and groundnuts by the roadside, near the big offices and shopping malls. People called her that quiet girl. Some were kind. Some were rude. Most just walked past her like she was part of the road. But Amina watched everything. She noticed how rich people hurried with serious faces. She noticed how poor people laughed even when they had nothing. She noticed how drivers shouted, how children ran barefoot, how music played from shops selling phones and speakers. Makondo City was loud. But Amina was calm. That day, she pushed her wooden cart to her usual spot. She arranged her corn and peanuts carefully, wiping dust from the plastic cover. Business was slow. The sun climbed higher. Sweat ran down her back. Then she saw the black car. Everyone knew that car. It was long and shiny, with dark glass and a small flag on the front. It belonged to Ibrahim Danjuma, the richest man in the country. He owned banks, factories, farms, and tech companies. People said he could buy a whole street without checking the price. His office was nearby. Amina watched as the car slowed, then suddenly stopped. The door did not open. Seconds passed. Then the door opened, but Ibrahim did not step out. Instead, he fell. His body hit the ground hard. At first, people thought he had tripped. Then they saw he was not moving. A guard jumped out of the car. "Sir! Sir!" No answer. A woman screamed. Someone shouted, "Call a doctor." Another shouted, "Call an ambulance." People crowded around him, but no one touched him. Fear filled the air. He was too important. Too rich. Too powerful. Amina's heart beat fast. She dropped her corn and ran forward. I know this, she said quietly. No one listened. I know what to do, she said louder. A guard turned and snapped, get back. But Amina had seen this before. Years ago, her younger brother had collapsed the same way while playing football. He had stopped breathing. People had panicked. But an old woman had acted fast. She had tilted his head, cleared his mouth, and breathed into him. He needs air, Amina whispered. She knelt beside Ibrahim Danjuma. His face was pale. His lips were turning blue. No breath. No time. She did not think about money. She did not think about rules. She did not think about cameras or guards or shame. She acted. She tilted his head. She held her breath. And she kissed him. When he came back to life, the city seemed to stop breathing too. Now, as the ambulance arrived and doctors rushed to him, Amina stood shaking at the edge of the crowd. A guard pointed at her. That's her. Another said, she kissed him. People stared. Phones were raised again, this time recording her face. A doctor shouted, move back. They lifted Ibrahim onto a stretcher. As they did, he grabbed the doctor's sleeve weakly. The girl, he said. Find her. Amina felt her knees weaken. She tried to step away. But two guards were already walking toward her. And for the first time since she was a child, Amina felt truly afraid, not because she was poor, but because she had done something big. Something that could never be undone. As the ambulance door slammed shut, Ibrahim Danjuma closed his eyes again. And Amina wondered. Had she just saved a life? Or stepped into a storm she could never escape? The gates of Danjuma Medical Center rose high like a wall between two wards. Amina stood outside them, holding her scarf tightly with both hands. The guards had brought her there in a black car that smelled like leather and air freshener. She had never sat in such a car before. She had never even been inside a hospital like this one. Everything was white. Clean. Quiet. This is not a police station, one guard said, noticing her fear. You are not in trouble. But Amina's heart did not believe him. She remembered the phones pointed at her face. She remembered the whispers. She remembered the kiss. She kept asking herself one question. Why did I do it? Yet deep inside, she already knew the answer. Because someone was dying. Because she could help. Because her heart did not allow her to walk away. They led her into a waiting room with soft chairs and cold air. A large screen on the wall showed news headlines. Suddenly, her face appeared on the screen. Breaking news, the voice said. Poor street vendor saves billionaire's life with quick action. Amina gasped and turned away. Her name was not mentioned. But her scarf, her face, her eyes, everyone in Makondo City would know it was her. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Doctors walked in and out. Men in suits whispered into phones. A woman with sharp eyes and gold earrings entered the room and stopped when she saw Amina. She looked at her from head to toe. So this is her, the woman said. Amina stood up quickly. Good afternoon, Ma. The woman did not smile. My name is Zainab Danjuma. I am his wife. Amina's throat went dry. I'm sorry, Ma, she said softly. I didn't mean any disrespect. I was just trying to help. Zainab studied her face. You kissed my husband. There was no anger in her voice. But there was something colder. Amina felt tears rise. He was not breathing. I learned it as a child. I didn't think. Zainab raised her hand. I know, she said. The doctors explained. She paused. They said if you had waited even one more minute, he might not be alive. Silence filled the room. Zainab looked away toward the long hallway. You saved him. Amina let out a shaky breath. Thank you, Zainab said quietly. Those two words hit Amina harder than shouting ever could. Just then, a doctor approached. Madam, he is awake. Weak, but awake. He has been asking for the girl. Zainab nodded. Then she looked back at Amina. He wants to see you. Amina's legs felt heavy as stone. Inside the private hospital room, machines beeped softly. Ibrahim Danjuma lay on the bed, tubes attached to his arm. His face looked older up close. Not like the strong man on television. But his eyes were sharp. When he saw Amina, they softened. You, he said again, his voice low but clear. Amina bowed her head slightly. Sir. He smiled. A small, tired smile. You gave me air. She shook her head. I only did what I could. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Many people have watched me struggle before. Few have touched me. Zainab stood quietly at the corner of the room. What is your name? Ibrahim asked. Amina, she replied. Do you know who I am? He asked gently. Yes, sir. Do you know what would have happened if I died today? Amina thought of the news. The crowd. The noise. The city would stop, she said honestly. He nodded. And yet, you did not stop. He reached out weakly. She hesitated, then placed her hand in his. His grip was light but warm. Thank you, he said. Tears slipped down Amina's cheeks. After a while, the doctors asked her to leave so he could rest. Outside the room, Zainab spoke again. You cannot go back to the street today. Amina's heart jumped. More. There are people already looking for you, Zainab said. Some will praise you. Some will use you. Some will lie. She handed Amina a card. You will stay in the guest house tonight. Amina wanted to refuse. But she remembered the phones. The eyes. That night, she lay on a soft bed she did not know how to sleep on. Her phone buzzed again and again with unknown numbers. Messages. Missed calls. On social media, her face was everywhere. Some called her a hero. Some called her shameless. Some said she planned it. Some said she was lucky. Amina turned off the phone and faced the ceiling. Her simple life was gone. The next morning, a black SUV waited for her. Mr. Danjuma wants to see you again, the driver said. At the hospital, Ibrahim looked stronger. I want to do something for you, he said after greeting her. Amina shook her head quickly. Sir, please. I did not help you for money. He smiled. I know. He leaned forward slightly. That is why I must help you. Zainab watched quietly. I want you to come work with my foundation, Ibrahim continued. We help street children, widows, small traders. Amina's eyes widened. Me? Yes, he said. But more than that? I want the city to hear your story from your mouth. Zainab's eyes narrowed slightly. There will be a public event, Ibrahim said. A press conference. Amina's heart began to race. I don't speak well, she whispered. I sell corn. Ibrahim smiled. You saved a life. You can speak. Outside the room, reporters were already gathering. Cameras flashed through the windows. And Amina suddenly understood. Saving a billionaire's life was only the beginning. Facing the world would be much harder. The hall was brighter than Amina had ever seen. Lights hung from tall stands. Cameras pointed forward like watching eyes. Reporters filled the seats, holding microphones and notebooks. The noise was loud, then quiet, then loud again. Amina stood behind the curtain, her hands shaking. You can still change your mind, Zainab Danjuma said softly beside her. Amina looked at her. For the first time, she saw something gentle in the billionaire's wife, not cold, not sharp, just human. If I don't go out, Amina said, they will still talk. Zainab nodded. Yes. They will. Amina took a deep breath. Then I will speak. The curtain opened. The noise stopped. Amina walked slowly to the front. She wore a simple blue dress borrowed from the guest house. Her scarf was tied neatly, just like always. She did not look rich. She did not look famous. She looked like herself. Flash. 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 She blinked but kept walking. Ibrahim Danjuma sat beside her, stronger now, wearing a neat suit. When she reached the seat, he stood up. This is Amina, he said clearly. The young woman who saved my life. Applause filled the hall. Amina flinched. Ibrahim raised his hand. The room grew quiet again. I collapsed, he continued. Doctors say my heart stopped for a short time. Many people stood around me. Only one person acted. He turned to Amina. She did not ask who I was. She did not ask what she would gain. She saw a human being who needed help. A reporter stood up. Why did she kiss you? Amina's face warmed, but she leaned toward the microphone. I did not kiss him because he is rich, she said simply. I kissed him because he was not breathing. The room went silent. Another reporter asked, do you expect a reward? Amina shook her head. Life is the reward. A small murmur passed through the crowd. Ibrahim smiled. After the conference, the world changed fast. Amina's cat was gone when she returned to the street, not stolen, but moved. The city council had cleared the area. Traders were pushed away. The place where she once sat was empty. She stood there quietly. That night, she cried. Not because she missed the corn or the peanuts, but because she missed the simple life she understood. Days later, she began working at the Danjume Foundation. She visited street children who reminded her of herself. She helped women learn small businesses. She spoke at schools about kindness, courage, and acting without fear. Some people loved her. Some people hated her. She planned it, they said online. She wanted attention. She trapped the billionaire. The words hurt. One evening, Amina sat alone in the foundation office, staring at her phone. Her hands shook again, just like the day of the kiss. Ibrahim entered quietly. Do you regret it? He asked. She looked up. Saving you. No, he said. Stepping forward. Amina thought for a long moment. I regret that kindness is so loud, she said. I thought it was small. Ibrahim nodded slowly. Kindness is never small. The world just forgot how to see it. Weeks passed. One afternoon, Ibrahim called Amina into his office. I want to fund a program, he said. For first aid training in markets, bus stops, schools. Amina's eyes widened. So people will know what to do? Yes, he said. So no one has to be afraid to act. Tears filled her eyes. On the opening day of the program, Amina stood in front of a group of young traders. She showed them how to help someone who had stopped breathing. Do not wait, she told them. Do not be afraid. A life is more important than gossip. The crowd clapped. Later that evening, Amina walked past the same road where everything had changed. Cars still passed. People still hurried. The city was still loud. But something inside her was calm. She looked at her hands. These hands once sowed corn. These hands once held a life. She smiled softly. Far away, Ibrahim Danjuma watched the city from his office window, breathing easily, alive because a poor street vendor had chosen courage over fear. And somewhere between wealth and poverty, fame and silence, a simple truth remained. One small act, done with a pure heart, can change many lives forever. And as she stepped closer to the door, the noise outside grew louder. Waiting for her.